I'm going to read this many books this year, or I'm going to do this many whatever, like consume this amount of information. And I think a question that I always used to have, which is related to what Yusuf was just saying, is like, read this book, you take these notes, but then like, what do you do with those notes, or what's the point of that, unless you're reading it in some way, like unless the book is in and of itself just a pleasure read. Like most people read self-help books because they want help with something to do with themselves. So not having a way to apply that was something that I struggled with for a long time. So the way that I changed reading is something related to something that I got from a guy called Garrett White, which I'll talk about in the next round. But it's simply just reading to the point of having what he calls a revelation, which is just something, and you have this all the time when you read or consume information, you have something that for whatever reason has an impact on you, resonates with you, makes you then like triggers a chain of thoughts related to that thing. And then once that happens, might take 2 minutes, might take 40 minutes, stop reading, go to Evernote, and I have notebooks for themes. So like
fitness and training, mindset.
Exactly, yeah. And in each of those notebooks or in each of those notes is just a series of pieces of information. I write down the thing that I heard in bold, and then just a few notes in my own words beneath that. And then I'll put, if there's something associated with it, there usually is an action associated with it. Like, for example, today it was change the about page on propanefitness.com related to a podcast that was completely unrelated to marketing in any way. But that then goes in my Trello. So I add it to my Apple reminders, which is synced with if this and that through Trello. And then I know that I have a process in the morning when I prioritize my day that I'll at some point get through that.
We're still talking about getting things out of our head again, though, here, aren't we?
It's the same thing, but it's a way of making sure that things that I put into my head don't stay stuck in there.
Absolutely. What was interesting, did you see the Tim Ferriss thing? I think it was what he did last week. And he talks about how he deals with information overload. And one of the things that he says, he uses this tagline, the good shit sticks. And it's like, you do consume a lot of information. If you're in any way inclined to reading a lot or chasing down the sort of self-help rabbit hole, so to speak, as I guess we are, that you do end up becoming so overwhelmed with information that you can't pull it back out, and you worry, well, I've read this book and it was 1,000 pages long, and I think, well, God, what have I got out the other side of this? And Tim Ferriss's piece of advice was, if you read all of those pages and nothing comes out the other side of it, then don't worry. And if you read one book and you get 10 concepts out of it, then that's fine, because the good shit sticks. I think that's a really interesting.
I really agree with him. I think the only part of it that I disagree with, and this might just be his ability or my inability, is there's definitely notes that I've made on previous books I've looked back over and gone like, oh,
I forgot about that.
Yeah. And so what I'm trying to do is just, by the time I've finished the book, I've either already applied everything that I've learned from that book in some way, or I have, at some point in the next couple of months, it will be applied. And I'd far rather have like one book a year that's totally improved one part of my life, like relationships, productivity, whatever, sleep, whatever, than have 10 books that I forget about.
Okay.
So that's an important thing, like making this balance between acquisition of information and application. And some people are too far one way, some people are too far the other way. I'm too far in the acquisition, not enough application. Some people read a book every 5 years, and so maybe they need to
obsess over a little bit. Yeah. Right. Let's do a full round. We'll do a final round for this episode.
Okay.
And we will do a full round on the most basic one that you can think of. So my most basic one to get started would be prepping your